Well, okay. Thanks first of all, huge thank you. I'm so grateful and appreciative that you agreed to come on, Brad. My podcast is called Doc's Den. A little background from it is when the kids were younger, they used to all come over to my house, and my son's football players and buddies used to come over. They call me Doc, right? So they'd walk in, they'd be like, hey, Doc, hey, so blah, blah, blah. And I went out to all the kids over the holiday. I said, I'm starting this podcast. I need a name. Somebody who gives me a name, I'll give you $100. So everybody's like, one kid's like, it's got to be called Doc's Den. And I'm like, you just hit the nail on the head. Perfect. So, all right. So that's how we got our name. And it's been doing good. So, Brad, I was hoping you and I could just chat about a few things. You and I grew up sort of in the same era. I graduated high school 89. I think you were 88 or 87.
Yeah, I graduated 87.
So you obviously probably been playing football since you could put cleats on or run around barefoot in the backyard with football. Tell me a little bit about how your youth was growing up, playing football, being exposed to the sport.
Yeah, I grew up in Black Mountain, North Carolina, and my mom was a PE teacher and also became assistant principal. My dad ran summer camps, boys and girls camps, canoeing, soccer, basketball, you name the sport, lakes, it was all there. So I grew up in camps. I always grew up playing with somebody, and usually somebody bigger than me as far as the camps go. And I played football, baseball, basketball, starting in, I don't know, whenever I could put a jersey on, you know. And then loved all three sports. Basketball was my favorite sport. Football, I started out at right tackle and couldn't block anybody. And then they moved me to running back, and that wasn't very good. And then eventually they moved me to quarterback. So, but I grew up playing all three sports and then stopped baseball about 12 years old. And most kids do at about that age. And then, but it became down between basketball and football. Loved it. My dad coached me all my basketball teams and had great support from my family.
So when you were about junior or senior in high school, when did it start to sort of evolve where, man, I might have to make a decision between football and hoops? Like if I want to play D1, and because you just don't see a D1 football player, let alone a quarterback, say, hey, coach, I'm going to go play hoops for the team as well.
Right. The school I was at, it was a basketball school. I had a great high school basketball coach named Bill Burrows. The coach before him was a guy named Roy Williams, who ended up coaching at Kansas.
He was a high school coach for you?
The guy, he was in front of me. And so he didn't coach me, but he came to a lot of our games and he coached. He came to see us play all the time. But our school is a basketball school. And the guy that I grew up watching, was about 4 years in front of me, was a guy named Brad Doherty.
Legend.
And all imagine Dean Smith and Lefty Frizzell and Bobby Crimmins and John Thompson coming to watch high school practice at your high school.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I was a kid that loved basketball. And I was a kid that could throw a football, but I didn't love football. But I knew everyone had told me that, listen, Brad, you're probably going to stop growing at 6'5", and you're probably not going to be jumping out of the gym and guarding these next guys. And you probably have more pro potential or more success in college as a 6'5" quarterback than a 6'5" shooting guard. And so it was a tough decision for me to make what sport I was going to play. And I was going to wait till my spring of my senior year. And that was before the internet and social media, and you didn't know who were on the rosters and those things. And my dream was to play for a guy named Bobby Crimmins at Georgia Tech. And so my official visits were going to be North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Alabama. And so on my visit to Georgia Tech, I had a really good relationship with Bobby Crimmins. He said, Brad, I'm bringing a guy named Dennis Scott. Only play 5 guys, and you'll probably sit behind him. And Dennis Scott changed my life, and he doesn't even know me. Yeah. But that kind of helped encourage me. And Bobby Crimmins was real with me. He said, Brad, you can come here, but what do you have most potential in? And so I said, football. And so I chose to go to Florida State at that point. And I knew I just had to grow into learning. I didn't know a 3-step or 5-step drop. I didn't understand coverages. I just knew I could pick up the ball and throw it. And the selling point at that time to me was a guy named Vinny Testaverde, who's at the University of Miami, who won a Heisman, which very similar size, and that was going to be the prototypical NFL quarterback.
Another legend. And Coach Bowden like very open to the idea of you playing basketball when you came and committed?
He was, and we had that conversation. But my freshman year, I was being redshirted, so I wasn't really playing, doing anything in football practice. It was kind of just standing there, running scout team maybe a little bit. And he, so I went out and played. I started about 13 games my freshman year. We made the NCAA's tournament. And so what happened to me is I ended up missing, at that time we had 20 practices in spring football, and I missed 10 of those.
Wow.
And then the very next year, I had to go longer into the football season until the bowl practice was over. And then I got late into basketball season. And so I was late into that. Then I also missed 10 more practices in that spring because we went to the NCAA tournament again. And so then at that point, Coach Bowden said, Brad, you can do whatever you want to do, but you're competing against guys in basketball and football. And what do you want to do? And I said, Coach Bowden, I came here to play quarterback. And so that's when I made my decision to do it. But Coach Bowden, you got to give him a lot of credit. He let a lot of guys play both sports. Deion Sanders, Charlie Ward, whoever they were. That was the greatness of Florida State, letting guys do double sports.
That's a great segue, because one point I wanted to ask you, was Deion there when you were there?
He was. He was elite. Now he was not a trash talker in practice. He was a hard worker. He was a shutdown corner. If you could make a complete hitch or curl on him, but you would never beat him deep. You knew his greatness there. He invented the prime time then. That's when the gold chains came out. On game days, he'd have a limousine at the apartments, getting ready, give a ride about 500 yards to the front of the stadium. You know what I mean? But all the respect in the world for Deion. Shutdown corner, probably best defensive player I've ever played against.
I will say this. Deion's greatness and entertainment value for where we are in the world today with social media and the kids and how they communicate with high schoolers and TikTok. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a guy to be in a better spot for that school right now. It just seems like a perfect mesh, you know? And go ahead.
No, he was social media back then before we had social media. And he said, listen, in the draft, they don't draft defensive backs in the top 5 picks, top 10 picks. They don't do it. And so he created this other person, prime time. And he could back it up. He talked the noise and he backed it up. He didn't talk in practice. He worked. He talked in front of the cameras, those kind of things. But he did it in the NFL for a long, long time. I think he won 2 Super Bowls with San Fran and Dallas Cowboys. Played in Major League Baseball. I think 9 years. I mean, so you think of Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. I mean, he did it. So all the respect. But now social media, that's what he's doing as a head coach in college. And he hasn't lost prime time. 35 years later.
I grew up a Giants fan in the Bay Area, right? And they played at Candlestick Park, was just basically a shit box, and it was windy and cold. And I was out there one night, and we were down low because no one was there, and you could sneak down. And Deion led off for the Reds, and he had a single. I'm telling you, within five pitches, he was at third base, and there was no outs. And it was just like, didn't he just get on base, and now he's on third? And you could just tell. I mean, this guy's special, but he's beyond. He's just an extra athlete, having them in the dugout with speed and wheels and arm, and I mean, so many tools, right?
He was a guy that
you go.
Yeah, he was a guy, honestly, he didn't get many attempts in college or even the pros. And a lot of times he would let his defender get by him so he could just, tempt the quarterback to throw his way. And he could have makeup speed to do those kind of things. And I remember he played baseball, at Florida State. And then I remember at a track meet, he was supposed to run at 5:15. The 4x100 is him, Sammy Smith, Dexter Carter, and a guy named Arthur Blake. And they're supposed to run at 5:15. At about 4:50, 4:55, he was in our parking lot at Burt Reynolds at the dorm we stayed at. And he was in a bathrobe, had a big cell phone. This was before its time, before we had cell phones. And I said, man, I thought I was going to be late getting to the track. And I said, Prime, you better get down there, man. He said, Brad, he said, you never seen a cheetah stretch before it runs, have you? So, and the cheetah got down there and they won the 4x100. It's incredible. And that's the athlete he was.
Oh God, that's awesome. That is just a great story. Oh yeah. And we could talk for 30 minutes on that, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about your NFL career. So from what I mean, I remember you were obviously with the Bucks, but you also, I know you were in Minnesota and Dallas. Did I cover all of them? Did I miss one?
I was in Washington for 2 years.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Washington.
Okay.
Right.
Tell me about playing in Dallas. What was that like? What were when you left Dallas, did you have a good experience there?
Yeah. When I went to Dallas, I was at the end of my career. I was 39, 40 years old. I was backing up Tony Romo. The first year there, we were 13-3, had a chance to win the Super Bowl. We had the number one seed and got upset by the Giants, who actually won the Super Bowl. The second year, I ended up playing 2 games, I think, 2 or 2.5 maybe. But I was pretty much done at that point. But I tell you what, I really enjoyed the players we had. I enjoyed playing for Wade Phillips. I thought he was a great head coach, and Jason Garrett was the coordinator. And made lifelong friends with Romo and Jason Witten and stuff. But as far as playing, I wasn't playing that much. But I actually loved my time there playing for the Cowboys.
Tony's got such a natural nick for natural talent, just coming out on camera with Jim Nance. It's, I mean, he not only does he already know what's going to be called, but he knows what's going to happen with the guys running routes or what the DB is going to do and what he's not going to do to make it successful. And everyone's like, is this guy like a magician or a genie? Or, he just connects with everyone so well.
He does. I really enjoyed being with Tony. I tell you, our quarterback meeting rooms were awesome. It was basically Jason Garrett, myself, Wade Wilson was the QB coach, Tony, and another guy named Rich Bartell, quarterback. We had some great, talking about high school proms, senior, our years in high school playing basketball and football games, just telling stories with each other. We spent half our time just telling stories, and then they got the details of football. But Tony was the best playmaker I ever played with, just a pure playmaker. He had kind of like eyes in the back of his head, made plays. He's an elite player. And obviously he did win a Super Bowl, which would have taken him to another level, but he was great in the QB meeting rooms. He was great in the locker room, great on playing on game days. So I really enjoyed being with him. Smart guy, very intuitive, and great with people and great in conversations.
You guys keep in touch today?
Not a whole lot. No, I did talk to him last year for just something came up. We talked about something briefly, and then Jason Witten, the same thing. We kind of see we see each other at the beach usually once a year. Very nice.
And you're down in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I'm in Athens, Georgia.
Beautiful. So, and then obviously how we can't not talk about the Super Bowl in San Diego against the Raiders. That was phenomenal. I personally, what I saw in that game, just from what I can remember, it's kind of like you remember where you are when that game was played. And it looked like you guys just came out and stomped them in the ground from the beginning. I wouldn't know if it stomped them in the ground, but you guys just had control of the game. Would you kind of look at it that way?
Yeah, we were a team that were 3-1 every 4 games. So we ended the season 12-4. They were a team that won their first 4 games, lost. What they do there? They won their first 4, then lost like a bunch, and then they got hot at the end of the season too to make the playoffs. So, but I felt like we got hot in the playoffs. We beat San Fran, and then we beat. You got me there. We beat San Fran, and then we beat Philadelphia up in the Vet, And then we beat, and then we were hot coming to Oakland. The first quarter was kind of a sluggish quarter in the Super Bowl. And I think it was like 3-0 our way. And then all of a sudden, the second quarter, we got hot, ended up going 20-3 at halftime, then came out the second half and ended up being up 34-3. And then they made a run at us in the fourth quarter, actually.
Oh, Gannon,
and they kind of got a little nerve-wracking for a minute.
Gannon,
yeah. But Rich Gannon, he was the MVP of the league that year, and phenomenal player. And they've had some players going to make Hall of Fame.
Wasn't the MVP a defensive player of that game?
Yeah. Our MVP was that game was Dexter Jackson.
That's right.
Safety, number 34, I believe he was. And I had 2 interceptions, and we could have had 10 different players that could have been MVP. That was just a lot of guys played great, but Dexter, he earned it. And so he was the MVP.
That's awesome. All right, let's segue into a little bit about something we like to brag about, you and I, but let's keep it mild. Our kids. And so I have a Division I football player son. You have 2, or one now and one to be, I guess. And so right. I've never seen anything like it in the recruiting process. It's crazy. Isn't it just amazing how recruiting has changed from when you were going through it? And I played Division I golf in college. And so when I went through it, I had to reach out to the coach and get him to notice me. And then we had a great dialogue. But now with social media and everything, these kids are just getting popped up as soon as they're in 8th grade, and they make some miraculous catch or jump or run a 4.5 40. There's just so many different angles for them to get looked at. How was your experience with the boys going through recruiting?
Yeah, it was interesting. During our time, we had no social media. We did not know anybody on the rosters. I don't think we went to any summer camps.
Yeah.
You did your own high school camp, and that was about it. I mean, you just did your work at your high school gym. And now social media is huge. I mean, every time you make a catch or touchdown or whatever, you're putting on some huddle highlight, and it's being shipped out all over the world on Twitter and Instagram and all the above. And you are making connections earlier, and you make a lot more trips, and it's crazy. And then there's all these 247 arrivals and 4-star, 5-star ratings. And I mean, it's a money racket.
How about 7-on-7?
And so we stayed away from that, to be honest with you. We did. I said, you know what? We're just going to train.
Okay.
I said, let's just train. And because I thought actually in the 7-on-7 things, I thought as a quarterback, you could get lazy because you just take the ball and stand there and throw it. It was great for competition, but I thought it was bad for technique. So I said, let's just take the time to throw and get better and work. And but it's different. Now you're going around to all the college camps, and they're making visits to you, and it's completely changed. So good luck to all those parents out there trying to make those decisions for the kids. But I would tell you, at the end of the day, regardless of all that, be great at your craft, just work, and coaches, they will find you at the end of the day. If you're good and you get that, they will find you, even as frustrating as it can become.
Agreed with that. And speaking of explosion, let's talk about TikTok, my friend. Your videos have exploded. And when I was first exposed to Brad and saw his videos, I'm like, okay, who is this guy making 100-yard basketball, football shots, golf shots, in the gym, out of the gym, at the beach? Yeah. And I'm like, Brad Johnson. I go, I mean, I'm familiar with who Brad Johnson. I'm like, that's not Brad Johnson. He wouldn't be shooting hoops. And then I'm like, wait, that's Super Bowl champion Brad Johnson. I mean, how did you get into all the trick shots and all that? That's phenomenal.
Yeah. When the pandemic hit, our family, we were just kind of hanging out, working out, and fooling around. Our kids kind of on TikTok, and they started doing dance videos and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, they would never let me be a part of it because I had no rhythm. So I was the cameraman. And then I kind of played with it, and I started putting a lot of my highlights on there from my playing days or workout videos, and just kind of fooling around with it. And then I said, I saw a lot of people out there doing trick shots. And so you be a guy with a baseball bat and hitting a basketball and knocking it to the goal. I said, you know what? I'm going to try something a little bit different. And so my videos, I try to do everything in sequence. So I'm going to try to make 3, 4, maybe 5 shots in a row that are kind of difficult. It may be a spin off my finger. It may be over the backboard. It may be bouncing between my legs. It may be a hook shot. But there's going to be 4 or 5 of these got to be done in a row, and then usually end up with a long football throw or something, trying to make it into the basket. Now, if they don't all go in, it doesn't happen. So could it happen in the first take? Yeah. It can. But does it happen in 2 or 3 days? Sometimes it's that too. So I always tell people the juice is worth the squeeze, and it's a lifetime of practice. Some of these videos, but it's almost like my therapy, to be honest with you, because I'm going to be out there and I'm going to get creative with it, and I'm not going to quit until I get it done. And it's hard, and then it takes a little bit of luck involved too. And so that's kind of where I've been.
That's great. And I mean, hats off to you, because it's just such a creative way to connect with people and put a smile on their face.
Right.
A little escape from life itself. A little, make someone feel good for a short amount of time, and then hopefully connect with them. I'm grateful that we were able to connect here. Brad, talk to me a little bit about what do you have down the road coming, future plans, or any new businesses that are opening, or anything you're getting into? Or are you just down in the retirement?
Yeah. It's really interesting. Ever since I got retired, I've been really, really busy. I've been coaching all kinds of youth teams, middle school teams, and high school teams. Now with my boys, they're both gone. They're both graduated. We went to a couple state championships and got beat in the finals and those kind of things. But I've been really, really busy. But now I'm at a point now where I got to figure out what's next. For the first time in 53 years, I got to find out.
You and your wife are empty nesters now, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We're empty nesters. So she paints on the side. She has a little painting business where she paints furniture and those kind of things. But for me, I do have a couple of charities that I'm involved with. One is the Evelyn Foundation up in Asheville, North Carolina. I do a big golf tournament for them. I've done it for over 20 years. And then another one's called Beyond All Borders up in Asheville, North Carolina too. So a lot of my TikTok stuff, the Big Bad Brad stuff, the gear and the hat and all that kind of stuff, and whatever all that stuff is, all that money goes to that charity. And then I work with a lot of kids, quarterbacks, one-on-one. I don't charge money, but I do invest time, time. And hopefully they get theirs. But I do it all with kids one-on-one. I'll never do it with 2 kids at a time. I feel like they're attack dogs. And I want each kid I work with to get my time. And that kind of keeps me busy.
Awesome. Does that keep you out of the house and active, and sort of like where your wife, for me, I mean, we're almost empty nesters, but if I'm lagging around the house on Saturday, Peggy will be like, get the hell out of here and go play golf, or I'm going to kill you.
Right. Yeah, we hadn't quite got to that point yet, but yeah, I golf and I play pickleball and do these TikToks and work with different quarterbacks. And so I stay active. I can't tell you, the exact day what the exact schedule is going to be like, but I definitely stay busy in some way, whatever happens by the end of the day.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot one last time. Give me the final prediction for Sunday's game, Bengals Rams. Who you got?
I expect a great game. I got to give the heads up, probably in a close game to the Rams, just because they're playing at home and their defensive line. I think they're going to give Joe Burrow a tough day. So I'd kind of give the lean to the Rams from those two aspects. You
just stole my thunder, and I agree with you 100% that last year Brady won at home, and it was a revenge game against Kansas City, but now the Rams are at home. They're playing the Bengals. They haven't played each other all year. And I just got to think that home advantage, sleeping in your own bed, being around your own family. It's a chaos. The Super Bowl is a zoo, right? And everybody comes into town for that. But I just got to give that advantage to the Rams. They're in their home field, and just, I don't know. For me, I think that's a big deal. So,
yeah.
Well, bro, I appreciate it. I can't thank you enough for coming on here and being part of Doc's Den today. I'm truly grateful. I want to let you know that I'm going to be making a donation to the golf tournament up in North Carolina because I appreciate you coming on and spending time today. It means a lot to me. And I'm hopefully we could talk again soon, Brad.
Yeah, man. I appreciate reaching out, Chris. Thank you, man. And good luck to you. Best of luck to your boy.
Yours as well. Yours as well. I'll be watching.
Yep. All right. Sounds great, man.
Take care,
appreciate it, brother.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you.